You may notice that the men who trespass on the strawberries' territory eventually turn into butterflies. I used to think this was a more kid-friendly way to symbolize their death, as I assumed
Президент и Амазонка
pandered mainly to children. But at the beginning of the video there is a blatant adults-only sign, which now leaves me to believe President and Amazon panders exclusively to the creepy shut-in social outcasts Russia is known for. A theory I used to have, when I had only seen the video thrice? Like a fucking entry-level loser casual bitch person? Was that the men are turned into such creatures through a sacred lesbian fruit ritual. Strawberries are seen dancing around bonfires, while the men are chained up in the center. This would explain why the first man turned into a caterpillar before he turned into a butterfly. He broke out of his strawberry prison, thus ending the ritual prematurely, making the transformation less effective. This is later debunked by the second man that shows up. Let's call him Brian, make things easier, Brian, alright. We get to see his last sweet, succulent final moments, which were rather brutal, don't you think? Like, that was straight up torture. Like, why did they take his shirt off? Oh my god. He had no ritual. One could argue that Brian shows up immediately after the first man, let's call him Craig, meets his demise, and because of that, the effects of the ritual are still present. But the ritual having ended in such short notice, still turning Brian into a butterfly immediately upon his death while Craig took more time to evolve? Does that make sense to you? That's ridiculous. Like, let's be real here, people. Do you honestly believe the creators of such an absurd Russian music video from 2002 would put that much thought and devotion into its lore? Here's my official theory. There is no ritual. It's merely a celebration, basking in the glory of the fall of man and the rise of the Russian Amazonian evangelical lesbian strawberry matriarchy. It's so simple. President and Amazon are angels sent by God to save the declining population of the truffle trees and spread homosexuality onto this dying, godless world. Much like myself. They infiltrate the system from the inside, feigning love with what looks to be a strawberry fanatic, Craig. A ditzy, stumbling buffoon. They even try to give him hints, which he ignores. Or maybe he's just too fucking stupid to understand them. So, Craig. I like to think the angels tried to be considerate at first, but with Craig being an incredible fucking ignoramus, they felt humanity as a whole was a lost cause, leading them down the path of apex predatorism. So thanks, Craig. Now before you shout, racism, racism, I'd like to point out that the strawberries are not only consumed by humans, this is an often overlooked fact, by the way, I thought I should mention, but they are also incredibly fetishized. Did you hear that? Following my theory, which leads me to believe that the strawberries were put on Earth to save the environment, there are probably not a lot of fucking strawberries, now are there, my dude? So get this. The strawberries as a people are a minority, therefore negating any possibility of racism towards the man. Now, where was I? Notice how as the video progresses, the strawberries become more and more humanized. This leaves me with only one possible answer. They're straight up eating these dudes. They're eating them and growing titties with their chemical composition. I even think one of them takes a nibble out of Brian while he's on the floor writhing in agony, but the animation team probably didn't have enough budget to add it in. But that's just me. When the strawberries are bathing, you can see them holding what looks to be ice cream, but it's far too sunny out, and we've already seen, most of the landscape through the opening. Where did they harvest all this ice? It's pretty obvious that what they're eating are the remains of their kill. The angels have already shown themselves capable of shapeshifting into lesser beings and bending lives to their will. Could they not eat the body and leave the soul? Now, butterflies are actually used as metaphors for souls. The caterpillar emerging from its cocoon becoming a butterfly, the soul leaving the body to be with the Jesus. Since it has already been established that this is a realm that knows not of God, it's safe to say that the seagulls are coded as Satan. The natural environment is dying because the seagulls are eating all the butterflies, and this is negatively affecting the pollination, which, as explained in the Bee movie, is fucking opposite of good. Not enough humans are dying, and the strawberries are here to fix that. Now, instead of angels, they could also be interpreted as evil creatures that defied God and in turn banished from heaven, forced to rot in said dying, godless world, spreading homosexuality out of spite and eating the flesh of men to turn them into humans and back into angels. Maybe climbing the social ladder a bit more? Possibly usurping the god that banished them? Much like Danny DeVito? But this would imply that seagulls are our saviors and not the devil incarnate, which I refuse to believe in any context ever. But again, that's just my 2 cents. Alright, enough theories for now. Let's talk about some stuff I thought was cool in the video that probably isn't noticeable until, like, maybe your 6th time watching. Okay, this one's not much of a secret, but the song samples Pretty Fly for a White Guy by The Offspring. This is very funny and cool. 2. Did I even say 1 when I said the first? Whatever. 2. Before Brian appears, an orb can be seen making its way around the screen. This isn't a dust particle and can't possibly be an animation mishap. This is the soul of Craig leaving his body shortly after his death. 3. Calvin, the 3rd man to appear, actually escapes during the bonfire ceremony, much like Craig did. Unlike Craig, however, Calvin makes a run for it in his limousine and does not attempt a kidnapping. Like a swine. 4. I'm sure all of you are thinking the same thing. This video is very, very feminist. There are no panty shots. The strawberries are wearing heels to symbolize their acceptance of their femininity, and there are no boob jiggles. However, their boobs do in fact jiggle slightly, yet abnormally, when Calvin is introduced. This is not feminist at all. I was willing to overlook the fact of the lack of winged eyeliner, but these titty physics have changed my mind. What number are 1? I did number these actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. During Calvin's escape, he does indeed die, as symbolized by his limousine turning into a butterfly at the end. 6. Craig attempts to seduce one of the strawberries by pulling a star out of the sky, causing the others to fall out. To many stars, this is considered a dick move. I think that's about everything, though I probably overlooked some stuff. Please, if you know Russian, or know someone fluent in this fantasy language, and is willing to cooperate with the cause, please, please, please contact me. Also, if you have any other theories or queries, I'd be happy to engage in conversation. More people need to know about this video and what it has done to me. I am almost entirely positive that this video has a direct link to the cause of me being gay. I also blame this video for stunning my growth, as I have not grown much since my adolescence. I have very small hands, as well as tiny feet. I am very self-conscious about them, please do not laugh. They have ruined my lifelong dream of joining the WNBA, so now I have to settle for Little League curling. You know curling? The sport that the Canadians, they scrub ice in front of like an oversized hockey puck. This is a pretty obscure ice sport now that I think about it. I found out about it through like a Madagascar animated short. Like it was part of a trailer, but it never made it in the movies because I don't remember it. I think there was a turtle involved. Hold on, I'm actually gonna look this up. I'm actually gonna fucking fuck. Curling animated short. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, fuck. Curling animated short. Madagascar? Come on. Come on. Madagascar. All I see are tiny penguins. How strange. Did I hallucinate this? Let me get out of YouTube, bring this into Google, which I should have done in the first place. Oh, it wasn't Madagascar. It was the ripoff of Madagascar called The Wild. Was this video? Was this movie good? The Wild animated movie. No, it was awful. I'm gonna watch the trailer now.
This spring, the zoo will officially be ours in 3, 2, and showtime. What a strange place for a party. When one of their own is taken away.
Why does he sound like that?
We got to find my son. Okay. Here I go. Who put that ball there?
I'm the snake.
And discover who are you guys? We're covert agents. Oh, you're the worst covert agent ever. What a jungle the city can be. Everybody, stay calm. You and your crew here are a little far from your burrow. We're far from your burrow. They're frighteningly horrible monster beasts, but they're not bad dancers. Walt Disney Pictures presents. I got Ryan's scent. Ryan. Doesn't anyone knock anymore? The Wild. Only in theaters, April 14th.
That was pretty interesting. That was nice. Oh god.
I'm the trash man.
No!
I start eating garbage.
No!
It's all fake.